My name is Victoria. I am 29 years old, and I have a wonderful husband whom we met at a party 8 years ago. My husband's name is Marcus, or just Mark. He is 35 years old. He works in an office in a high position, which is why he is very often at work and devotes little time to his wife. Let me tell you the story of our acquaintance before I get to the heart of the story. I was 21 at the time. I was young and stupid. I have an attractive figure, green eyes, blonde hair, and tall stature. This is what has remained unchanged. That evening I came after classes at the university and was going to do a test that we were given to do at home. But my friend who loved parties very much broke into my room. She literally couldn't live without them. Sick. Have you heard about the party tonight? There will be a lot of grown guys there. This is our chance. Let's go. Joe, I can't. If I don't do the test, I'll get in trouble. Maybe I'll come up later. As soon as you finish solving the test, you will immediately go to bed. Of course I agreed. I couldn't refuse my friend. As soon as we entered the house, I noticed him. My future husband. He was incredibly charismatic. Tall, solid build, dark eyes and dark hair. He was the perfect man for me. Our eyes met. I was thrown into a fever. I watched him approach me. Hi, I'm Marcus. I've never seen you here before. Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm here for the first time, so I haven't seen. How about a drink? I agree, but not much. I have an exam tomorrow. Mark and I talked and drank all evening, and it seemed that we found common ground. We had a lot of common interests, and we were attracted to each other. As it turned out, I was not mistaken. Mark took care of me for 2 months. I couldn't resist him and gave up. We started dating, and a year later Mark proposed. It's funny how life works sometimes. When I first met Mark, I never would have thought that we would end up getting married. But here we are, standing under a beautiful arch of flowers on a beautiful summer day, ready to say our vows. When the wedding ceremony began, I couldn't resist stealing a glance at Marcus. He looked handsome in his crisp black suit with a nervous but joyful smile on his face. The guests burst into applause when Marcus and I exchanged rings, sealing our obligations to each other. The hall was decorated with garlands, and the tables were decorated with fresh flowers and flickering candles. Our wedding day was a wonderful memory that I often returned to remind myself of my love for each other with Marcus. But when we celebrated our 3rd wedding anniversary, I couldn't shake the feeling that our relationship had changed. It became stressful, and it seemed like we were living parallel lives rather than sharing one. The source of our tension was Marcus' busy work schedule. He has always been devoted to his career, but it has reached a level that I did not expect. He left for the office early in the morning, sometimes even before I woke up, and returned long before dinner. When he did return home, he was often too tired to engage in conversation or spend quality time together. One evening, setting the table for a cold dinner, I decided it was time to talk to Marcus about our relationship. Marcus, I began hesitantly. I miss you. I miss us. I know, Vic. I'm sorry. It's just that the work has been so stressful lately, and I'm trying to achieve even greater success in the company. I understood his ambitions, but it affected us. I understand, but it seems to me that we hardly see each other. I want to be your life partner, not just someone you come home to when you're too tired to keep working. Marcus sighed and closed his laptop. You're right, Vic. I was so focused on my career that I neglected our relationship. I promise that I will try to give us more time. I appreciated his words, but I couldn't get rid of lingering doubt. Over the next few weeks, Marcus did make an effort to spend more time with me, but it was clear that the demands of his job had not gone away. Our conversations often concerned work or his plans for the future, which left little room for communication on a deeper level. One evening, after another canceled dinner and another empty seat across from me at the table, I decided it was time for a more serious conversation. As soon as Mark showed up at home, I started a conversation. Marcus, I love you, but I can't go on living like this. We need to find a way to balance your career with our relationship. Otherwise, we may lose each other. God, the sum. He looked genuinely distressed when he replied, I don't want to lose you, Victoria. I'll try to rethink my priorities and find a way to spend more time with you. I saw his sincerity and hoped that everything would get better. We started setting aside certain time for each other, arranging date nights and weekend trips. It wasn't easy, but gradually we started to reconnect. And now came the moment of the very incident that happened to me. One sunny Saturday morning, when Marcus and I were sitting at the kitchen table sipping coffee, I received a message that brightened up my day. It was from my friend Joe, whom I haven't seen for a long time. Hey Vic, it's been so long since we've seen each other. How about you and Marcus join me at my birthday party next weekend? It's going to be amazing. I turned to Marcus and shared the exciting news. Joe's birthday is next weekend, and she wants us to come. We haven't seen her in ages. Marcus smiled. That sounds like a great idea. It will be a good opportunity for us to chat with your friends. I found the perfect gift for Joe, and Marcus and I discussed our plans for the evening. Finally, it was the evening of the party, and we arrived at Joe's house, a cozy bungalow in the suburbs. We were greeted with warm hugs and smiles, and I introduced Marcus to some of my old friends. During the evening, we had conversations, enjoying stories and laughter. It was so nice to be surrounded by friends and to see Joe so happy on her special day. We talked about the adventures we had experienced in our youth and talked about what life has brought us since then. At that party, I'd had a little too much alcohol and decided to go into the house to get some rest. Everyone got into my situation and sent me to the bedroom. I fell asleep for a while and began to feel through my sleep that someone was lying down to me. I didn't give it any meaning and fell asleep, but I didn't manage to sleep for a long time because the one who was lying next to me began to climb under my jacket. I thought it was Marcus, and I reciprocated. In the process of merging our bodies, I felt that something was wrong, as if it wasn't my husband. He wasn't that passionate. As soon as I opened my eyes, I noticed one of Joe's friends on me. It was Brian. We knew each other, and he took care of me for a while. I was in the process and could not detach him. I was pleased to feel someone other than my husband. Yes, I succumbed to temptation and went to betrayal. At some point, the door to the bedroom opened, and my husband was standing there. I do not know what he was thinking and feeling then, but I saw his eyes full of disappointment. He just stood there and looked at Brian and me. As soon as we finished, Mark was still standing and looking at us. I got dressed and went up to him. He looked at me, kissed me, and said, Vic, let's forget about it and go home. I don't want to be here. We arrived home, and the first thing Marcus did was to pack his things. Honey, where are you going? I don't want to make excuses, but I was sleepy and thought it was you. I won't survive if you leave. It was only once. It was a mistake. Visk, you slept with that guy even when I was looking at you. Do you think this is normal? Do you think it's normal that you stood and looked at it? You could have shouted, done anything, but you just stood there and watched. Is this a man's act? It's your own fault what happened. Marcus packed up his things and left. I do not know where. I do not know to whom. But he left. I was left alone with my thoughts, which were eating me alive. It was an incredibly difficult period. And now months have passed since this situation. I am trying to establish relations with Mark, but it is pointless. He does not make contact, does not want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to him myself. I feel negative feelings for him. Marcus's mother said that he began to drink a lot and did not leave the house for weeks. I decided to go to him and talk. When I arrived, the door was unlocked. I walked in and immediately smelled alcohol. Bottles were scattered all over the apartment. I went into the bedroom where Marcus was lying. He was lying motionless, and I was afraid for him. I came closer and saw how he was breathing. It became easier for me. He turned to me. Sorry, what are you doing here? Did my mother send you here? No, Mark. I came to talk to you. Alcohol is not an option. It will not save you, but I will help. We need to talk about what happened at Joe's. Once again, I got it mixed up. I didn't mean it, but it turned out differently. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you still love me, we can try again. Do you really think I can forgive you? Yes, I really think so. You can forgive me, otherwise you wouldn't be drinking, but living on. Marcus looked at me. There were tears in his eyes. I couldn't stand it and started crying. We cried and hugged him for a few minutes. He shook his head in approval and said, "Let's start all over again." And so it turned out. We continued to live together. We learned to forgive each other. Now everything is fine. We are expecting a baby. I'm afraid to imagine what would have happened to Marcus if I hadn't come to talk to him then.